everyone. Welcome back to episode 5 of What's the Hype. I'm joined by two very special guests, two friends of the program, Scott Denton of Denton Homes and Carmel Developments, and Jim Sedrel, our golf course superintendent. Gentlemen, how are we doing on this cold, brisk Friday morning at the driving range?
It's a beautiful morning in November.
Yeah, it's going to be a beautiful Friday. We're expecting about 180 million golfers today, and we got a frost delay, so it's perfect. Can't complain.
Great start to our day, right?
Yep.
Yeah, at least the sun's shining. It's going to be a nice day.
Good. Well, hey, we just wanted to do an update here. Obviously, if anybody's been over to the driving range, there is major construction, and construction is the word that I've been using kind of as a theme to this podcast. So I wanted to start with Scott, go through, first of all, obviously there is a lot of planning that goes into a development like Carmel Hyperion, and we didn't break ground until right around October 1st. And why don't you just talk about some of the work that you and Stephanie did along with your subcontractors in preparation for breaking ground here at Carmel Hyperion?
Yep, it's been a opportunity. Been super thankful for the team at the club, and just excited to get started. So we've been for what seems like about 3 years now planning this, working it through, and figuring out how to get our road access in. And we've been cut and grade and creating our intersection. We've got our new cart path poured for the tee box. Sure. And we're getting our detention basin built for along the driving range. So all the water from the driving range all drains to a detention basin that had failed before.
Yeah, real quick on that, Scott. I'm glad you brought that up. So many members, if you drive to the range in the last couple weeks, you've seen a large hole on the north side of the driving range, a very large hole for that matter. So that is the retention basin that is needed. And Jim, why don't you just kind of touch on the drainage of the range and how we've had it and how it's going to be now with the road and the retention basin.
Yeah, so historically everything went right to that same spot. There's kind of a creek or a ravine of sorts that runs back through there, and the old one was just completely dilapidated and falling apart. Erosion was a big issue in there, but the range is still going to flow down through that area, and it's actually, correct me here, detention basin.
Yes, yep.
And the idea is it's a stormwater. Essentially, it helps with flash flooding.
Stormwater management.
So, rather than just let that water run as fast as it wants to the nearest stream or lake, river, whatever, we just hold it in a place for a while, and then it will more slowly, after a rain event, move downstream. Basically helps with flash flooding.
Yep.
There should not be any water sitting in that for extended periods of time, just for after extended rain events.
After a heavy rainfall, it'll pool up in there, and then it'll slowly basically drain out of it.
Yeah. It's kind of I shouldn't say it's like a new thing. It's probably been going on for 20 or 30 years already, probably.
Yep, and like every new strip mall, every new development, they'll have them in the corner somewhere, and some hold water, some are intended to hold water. We'll have other ones in the development that we intend to hold water. This one, through the golf study, we said it probably was a bad idea to hold water there. So it'll just be during the heavy rainfalls, it'll have a little bit of water in it, and it'll dissipate.
Awesome. That's good to get some clarification on that. So once October 1st hit, what was the top priority for Denton Homes, Scott and Stephanie, in correlation with Elder? What was the top priority?
So definitely getting the driving range put back together. So in the spring, getting our intersection created all the way in that first 1,500 feet. So trying to get to the point where Jim could grow grass, have something to mow into the spring.
Okay. So, it's November. We're recording this on Friday, November 10th, just for everybody's reference. So what does the rest of the calendar year look like? What can members expect to see over here? What do you expect to see? What are your goals?
So it obviously, we adjust that day to day depending on the weather. And right now we've had just a beautiful stretch of weather. It looks like the next 8 or 10 days we'll still get decent weather, so we'll continue to. We've got all of our storm in, so we're going to work on sewer, on water for that first 1,500 feet, trying to get ourselves prepped back to be able to pour some concrete. And with a little bit of luck and decent weather, we'll be able to pour that first section of street all the way back to the almost to the end of the driving range.
Okay. Oh wow. So there's still a lot to come this year.
There's still a lot to come. Like I said, and it's a little bit weather dependent. So like every day we adjust schedule just because we don't know. Like right now, it's great weather, but it could be different tomorrow. I don't think we'll be able to get to the complete intersection done yet this fall, but I think the intersection will be all prepped and ready for in the spring. So all the transition to the club will be in place.
Great. And if people have been up to the club this week, they've noticed a stoplight. That is a disruption, in traffic flow, but that is part of the project, and that will be there for the next couple weeks. I know they're working very fast and efficiently to get the work that's needed done, but if you're coming up to the club, if you got a tee time, you got a dinner reservation, maybe give yourself a couple extra minutes, as you make it up to the club.
Yep, and the stoplight is definitely just a temporary setup. It's not a permanent fixture. There's not going to be new stoplights in the future there. It's just purely for 3 to 4 weeks of our downtime as we make the sewer and water connections. The original plan was to bore underneath the road, but through some challenges that the city's been unable to give us exact coordinates of where the water main's at, so we're kind of up against not knowing where the main feed is to the water tower in the city. It's deep enough because when they did it in the late 90s, they directional bored underneath the tunnel, and so it's super deep there, and they're unable to verify exactly where it's at. So they said, hey, since we can't verify, then this is the city, since we can't verify where it's at, we'll let you cut across and connect the water that direction. So it wasn't ideal, and it's
little
still little curveball,
yeah.
But we're recovering as fast as we can. So I think by the week of Thanksgiving we'll have the stoplights down, and the traffic will be back open.
Great.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's about making those connections and keeping everything intact. Obviously, we don't want to break anything. I'm the same way. I mean, you see me out here flagging people down with my irrigation. Same thing, obviously, with city water supply. The other thing is keeping all those workers safe, and commuters, people coming to the club, keeping them all safe. Because at the end of the day, safety is top priority for Elder, for us, and I'm sure for you, Scott. So
and
patience goes a long way when we're talking safety.
Absolutely. The traffic doesn't like to see it, and no more than the guys that want to be out there working on the road. They don't want to be out there. So I guess I ask for grace for the guys that are working out there to they're trying to be as efficient as possible to get the connections made.
Yep.
Good. Well, let's swing it over to Jim. And Jim and his team have been, well, first of all, I want to point out the relationship that Jim and Scott have formed. They make quite the team over here. There's a lot going on between a lot of communication, just a lot of stuff when it comes to this development and Hyperion's property, all corresponding into one area. So I know you guys have really been, almost developed a friendship in a way, and every time I see you guys, you seem to be joking around and, giving each other a hard time. But at the end of the day, your priorities align, and you've been really working well together, along with the site supervisor at Elder as well. So just want to give a shout out to that. So Jim, let's talk about everything that we've been able to accomplish in correlation to the work being done. And maybe why don't you start with the West Range tee? That's been a project on our list for a while.
Yeah, so we've been talking about improving this range for a number of years, and the idea was to install drainage so that after extended rainy periods we can open that tee a lot more quickly, and eventually we have intentions to improve drainage in the range field itself and the east tee over here. But these conversations, like Scott said, were starting 2+ years ago, and so we kind of put those sorts of thoughts on the back burner, just not knowing exactly what would be required to pull off the big project, the big grand scale project. So we put those off, and finally we had a land sale closing, and we knew Scott was going to be here, and he was going to start moving dirt and all this stuff. It was going to be kind of noisy, dusty, all those sorts of things. So we went ahead and executed the drainage on the west tee. We did that in-house. In the future we could look to use a contractor to help us out with that sort of stuff, but timing is really, really important when we're talking about growing grass. So we wanted to get that seed in the ground in September to give it a good start for the following season. So we put 1,700 feet of drain pipe in those 2 tee boxes. Totally regraded it, flattened them out, and we lost a little bit of square footage to the northwest corner, but we regained that square footage a little bit to the south and a little bit to the east, and I would say that usable square footage is going to be much, much greater just from having regraded those. They've been seeded with a new variety of grass. We use something that's really readily available, so we can, because we're talking about a range tee, constantly reseeding it. It should resist disease, be a little bit more drought hardy than the grass that was there before. And yeah, it's just something that we can really, really easily access reseed for filling all those divots. So really excited to get that up and going. We've been kind of making irrigation adjustments in preparation for replacing the putting green and supplying drainage access for new greens, and relocating our pump station, and making sure that we have all the different components that we need, so that once the utilities are in and Scott gives us the green light, we can start putting our infrastructure back into place, and just making sure we're working with Scott and bouncing ideas off of each other all the time. Hey, if you do this and I do this, then allows both of us to move forward. Yep. And so that's what we've really kind of focused on doing this early part of this project. So it's been good.
Great. Yeah, and many people have noticed there is a new concrete slab just it'd be to the east of the new cart path. That is something that we put in part of this project. Something that you'll see next spring is there'll be a new artificial turf pad there. Something that'll be a really nice upgrade from what we had, and allow us to open the range more often when we do get those rains, as well as put outside outings on that artificial turf. And it'll be a major upgrade from what we had there. That thing was about as hard as concrete. So they were able to rip all that out and put the new concrete pad in, and that'll go in the spring. So we're real excited about that. That's a significant upgrade to the teeing area over there, and again allow us to open the range more often when we do get those big rains in the future. So Jim, we were able to buy a new skid loader here this fall, and that did correspond to being able to do that project in-house. You maybe just want to touch on that. And I know Chuck's Mr. Skid Loader. He gets in that thing and he's out there all day. So just briefly touch on that. And the skid loader, just for our listeners, that was a requirement that we had going forward with losing the dump area we had. We had to purchase a larger skid loader to be able to haul larger items, mostly logs, in the event there's a storm. So Jim, just touch briefly on that if you don't mind doing that.
Yeah, that's my prior experience at Wakanda Club, very landlocked, which we are here at Hyperion, but they didn't have an area to dispose of logs, sticks, debris. Similar circumstance when they developed the land to the north along Park Avenue. They lost that ability, and so that was a shift. And so I knew what that was all about. And loading trucks with a skid loader, you don't want to have nasty, stinky grass clippings falling in your lap. A, and B, it's a safety issue. I mean, you got to be over the side of a dump truck. That's 11 feet in the air, and you got a couple thousand pounds. Like, you got to have a capable machine. So that was one of those things. As this was really in its infancy, there's going to be adjustments for us, and I kind of laid those out for General Dardis and Evan and the board, and so we knew that was something we'd have to do. We were able to pick that machine up, gently used machine. But the capabilities are just fantastic, and there's a lot of creature comforts, which Chuck would be sure to tell you about. Heated seats, it's kind of
Bluetooth. He could go on and on. Put him in that. I guess since he likes it so much, he can be on plow duty all winter, right?
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, it does have so much more capability, and we were able to put a laser box scraper on the front of it, which really helped us get that tee to the flat that we desired versus the wavy, uneven surface that we had before. So it's going to be a big improvement. And yeah, like anytime I can get something that's not a one-trick pony, especially when it's a really expensive machine, that's a win-win for us. So
good. Awesome. So, kind of wrapping up here with you, Jim, I know you have some more plans for the range. I should say potential plans based on contractors' availability, with the target areas. Those are the greens out there for people's reference. I believe we have 4 of them right now. One did did go away with
3.5 right now.
3.5, yeah, which that'll be replaced. But touch on that, and I know Sarah. We brought Sarah on this year, and she's giving a lot more lessons, a lot more junior programming. Some of those targets, maybe closer to the teeing area. So yeah, why don't you fill our listeners in on that?
Yeah. So the thought that I have is, we can have this thoughts of grandeur of all the opportunity that exists over here, which there is a lot, but we can't necessarily do everything all at once due to financial constraints and just logistical issues. But what I've been looking at is, we probably want to adjust kind of our intended angle of practice, just to give ourselves maybe a little bit of a kind of a different visual cue, just to reduce the number of golf balls that are going in the direction of our road. Just because a terrible errant shot, yeah, we could see some balls flying over there. But if we shift the angle of our intended play, well, now we've really cut down on that. So we do have some targets that we have to replace. So we're going to shift kind of the line of fire, so to speak. And we've got the opportunity here where Scott's got a little bit of dirt.
Got some dirt
to be had. A big pile back there.
And so the idea is, if I had to buy the dirt to do expanded targets, additional targets, we'd be spending $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 to have it trucked in and deposited for us. That Scott's willing to work with us where we can get rid of some of the fill for them, and then give us some nice topsoil to provide some additional targets on a better line for everyone. Give you more options, for short shots, long shots, maybe some better opportunities when we do hit from the east, that sort of thing. So that's what we're exploring now, is the opportunity to maybe get started on some of that work as we're kind of approaching the end of the golf season. So
great. And yeah, and you know what, the contractor that did the women's tees out on the golf course would be someone that we want to bring back. We're real impressed with that work, and his schedule, he does have some openings, but it just kind of depends on weather and where we're at with everything. So Scott, I'm going to swing it back to you as we close here. I know I've seen some sold signs go up on the maps, which is great, and I know you guys are full steam ahead, and just wanted to, if anybody's interested in learning about Carmel Hyperion or a lot, to contact you and Stephanie at dentonhomesiowa@gmail.com.
Yep.
So,
and we definitely just give us the opportunity to come out and show people, like you can look at it from the map, but I mean, it's a whole different world once you're able to drive out here. And we've been taking people on tours out here, just getting back and show them the lots. We've cleared a lot of the lots and cleaned all the underbrush out, so you can actually walk the lots with us, and we can kind of give you a visual. It's like, okay, hey, which direction is my house? Where's my privacy? And without actually walking with us out there, it's a whole nother world. It's pretty impressive, pretty peaceful when you get back on these lots. Super private and just pretty special.
Great. Yeah, I mean, you look back here, and I mean, it's just like you said, it's a different world, and I can't imagine being able to have a home back here in the quietness.
Yeah, it's a beautiful property. I was probably one of the few people that got the opportunity to see parts of it. But being able to ride with Scott now that some of that access has been made, yeah, it's going to be a neat place. So excited to see it all come together.
Outstanding.
Would love the opportunity to have people just contact us and take them for a tour.
Great. Yeah, dentonhomesiowa@gmail.com. Scott and Stephanie Denton with Carmel Developments. They'll get you the information that you need. Well, guys, I don't know about you, but my hands are freezing. I am freezing. I'm not used to this.
Day's just getting started.
I know. You guys are out here, Scott's got shorts on, for crying out loud. So anyway, just want to thank you guys for joining us. Thank our listeners. Again, if you have any questions about any of this, Jim and I are at the club and available to answer any questions. So thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.